Hello, everybody. I'm Marcy McCarrow,
Hello, I'm Carol Cooper.
and we're here today chatting with Joy Langley from Stop Feeling Stressed Out. And Joy is a counsellor, life coach, and a cognitive behavioural therapist. Hello, Joy.
Hi, Marcia. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you both.
Excellent. Could you give us your website address?
Yes, certainly. It's www.stopfeelingstressedout.com. So just as you spell that, STOPSTRESSEDOUT.com.
Fantastic.
I think
Brilliant.
I got that
Thank
right.
you, Joy. So your first question then, you were already running your therapy practice when you decided to qualify as a life coach. So what made you take on the additional part of the practice?
Yeah, kind of back to front, Marcia. It was the other way round. I
Ah,
started to study coaching, and I was doing that for I did that for a year, I suppose. And at the end of the coaching studies that I decided I needed more, and then I did the studying for the counselling. So it was actually the other way round.
fantastic.
The other way round.
So how do these two roles then play out in terms of your practice? Do you have lots of people coming for coaching, lots of people coming for counselling? Are they separate, or do you somehow pull them together, amalgamate them together to give an approach?
I personally think that all the skills that we have as counsellors, therapists, coaches, mentors, it's a talking thing. So it's about talking to people and helping them to get from, let's say, from A to B. So for me, the counselling skills have taught me a certain way of being with people, and the coaching skills have taught me perhaps more practical ways of being with people. So I kind of merged those two to, as I said, to solve people's problems. So my people, anyone that comes to me for counselling, they'll obviously get a certain series of steps. And I've also trained in cognitive behavioural therapy, so again, more practical steps. Yeah. But I've realised quite early on in my kind of working with clients that you need to give practical advice too. And my previous training around counselling was it's okay to listen, nothing wrong with listening, but I also think when my client leaves, I'd like them to go with something that they can think about, put into practice, come back and feel as though they kind of elevated their game.
So is that, do you think, part of the academic in you? Because you also have got an education background too. You worked with younger adults, didn't you, within education? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, well, that was as a counsellor for the students. Right. So really, I've kind of been sort of reinventing myself all my life. Excellent. All my life, Marcy. I really have been.
Love
seriously.
That
must be like my fourth iteration, really, counselling and coach, and where I am now. Goodness
There's
me.
Nothing wrong with that.
You just have, but in life, you've got to work out where you are and what you want, and if you can have it at that point in time. So I was able to do the counselling training, which was great. It was quite late in life, and I managed to get a job. Counsellors don't always get jobs. That's the thing they don't tell everyone. But I managed to work as a counsellor for students in a college, and that was great. And that was helping them with their everyday problems. So that's how I managed to, I suppose, make the transition from what I learned and studied into a paid job. And for me, it was always about trying to find something that I love doing, because I've been depressed during my 20s and 30s. And it's about being in a space where you're not doing what you love. I'm not saying we can all do what we love, but you can try.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can try.
Absolutely. Fabulous.
So Joy, what have been the challenges to getting where you are today, and how have you overcome them?
Challenges seem to be sometimes around money. So I will always make money my barrier to everything, okay? And then I've realized that's been a bit of a smokescreen, because when the money has been there, it's like, so why aren't you doing what you said you were going to do then, Joy? So having a good old chat to myself. And of course, so money wasn't the issue. I realized it was a lot to do with this other word, which is very, very popular now, which is mindset. So back then, when I was younger, should we say, it was the positive mental attitude, PMA. Yeah. So I read a lot of books back then about the positive mental attitude and how you can go for what you want. Because fear is the thing that holds people back, including me right now as I speak. fear has a way of stopping me from doing what I want to do. So really the challenges for me is overcoming my fear, Carol.
Right. Wonderful. And I think that applies to us all, if
Yeah.
we're all honest and hand on heart. So what excites you about what you do now and who you do it for?
The thing that excites me is that I obviously adore people. I can also hate them as well. It's a love-hate relationship, people, isn't it? Because you love them when they're being good and you don't like them when they're not. But I really like talking to people, and I like their life stories. And I discovered that in my mid-30s. I was working independently for my own company, a music company, talking to artists, talking to other people about their lives. And I just realized I just loved hearing other people's life stories. They were just so different and so interesting. Yeah. So what excites me is people and their stories. And that's why I do what I do. It is about meeting people. And if you gave me a job where I probably wasn't talking to anyone, I think I might die, Carol.
Me too.
I think I'll apply to you, actually.
Yeah, me too.
A profession like that in our lives, really. So, Joy, what have been the significant lessons learned along your journey, and what makes them so significant?
Significant lessons, wow. Okay. I've learned a lot of lessons about myself, firstly, that I'm more than I realize I am. I can do more than I thought I could. And that once I get over being a scaredy cat and get past my fear, there's a lot out there for me. So those have been significant lessons for me in terms of learning to take those steps. Because it's held me back many a time. As I said, I've made money my issue. Can't do this because of money. Can't do this because of that. Actually, you can do anything you want to do, Joy. Okay? It might not be right now, but it might not be at the level that you want to be. But if you want to do it, give it a try. Just like you would say to a young child who was trying something. You wouldn't say, oh, you can't ride a bike. You're only 2. It's like, yes, you can do this. You can fallen off a couple of times, but you keep going. So you kind of have to become your own cheerleader. So that's one of the lessons I've learned. And a lesson about just life in general is that it can be hard. It can be tough. It depends on what you tell yourself. So I'm really in the space now of your thoughts matter, the content of what you say to yourself matters. So be careful what you think. Yeah. And that's the cognitive behavioural side of it too. But I think human beings have always had a handle on that. Because be careful what you think is something which human beings have said to one another. We just never understood the significance of it.
No, when you think things through, they can happen. It can become quite real, can't it? So I know that you like to keep abreast of innovations in the field of coaching and counselling. So what was the last book or text or article that you read, and what did you get in its terms of learning? What did you get from it in terms of learning?
I must admit, I'm always reading a book. I'm a very slow reader nowadays. I don't know what's happening. It's my age, but seriously, I just don't get through books as quickly as I used to. But I picked up a book by Fern Cotton called Happy. So she is a celebrity, a radio presenter, you name it. And I didn't realize the level of angst and serious depressions and stuff that she'd been through. So I've been starting to read her book, and that's having a very big impact on me because I just didn't know. And we make lots of assumptions about other people because of the life that we see them leading. We can't see behind the screens. So pull the curtains back, have a look behind the screen, and you'll see the stuff. So she's genuinely sharing her stuff about life, where she's come from, getting married, having children, living with depression. And she's written 2 books, and I just didn't know. And they're beautiful books. So I like books with pictures in them, Carol. So that's having an impact on me. And I want to create a book with pictures in it too. So I was very angry, I think, as when I got to my late 10, 11, 12, I thought, where are the pictures in the books? They're making us read all these books with no pictures. It's so unfair. And I've never lost that.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Why aren't there pictures in books, Carol? Tell me.
I'm going to think on that one and I'll come back to you.
They don't serve the visual learner amongst us, do they? The ones just the text. Although I suppose we can create our own visual images from it. You talk, Joy, a lot about age. Is age something that's very significant in your mind? Because you're saying, you know, when I was in my 30s or when I was in my 20s, or, you know, and made reference to these things a few times as we've been chatting.
I hadn't picked up on that, but yes, but time marches on, Marcia, doesn't it? You know.
We're not that old.
So
you're the second person I've said that to in the interview.
I didn't say old, Marcia. Yeah. I said when I was in my 20s. It's factual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once upon a time I was 1. Once upon a time I was 10. You know, it's factual. Yeah. Okay. But with each age, I think brings a certain level of wisdom, only because you've been on the earth a certain amount of time. And if you're doing it well, I suppose you're gaining lessons from the mistakes, and you're gaining lessons from the stuff you get right.
Yeah.
If you're really sensible, you're using that to move forward. So for me, I don't ever use I'm really, really, really old. You know, I might look reasonably young, but I'm really old. So for me, it's kind of the wisdom that I've gained over the years. I'm like saying, thank God I've got here. Like, and there's more, because age is not something that holds me back. It never has done. I've never sat down and thought, ooh, I've gone past 40, that's not good. Gone past 50, oh, that's not, I've never thought that. I'm thinking like, yeah, I've reinvented myself at 50, you know, so I've sort of like been counting my years after that as 1. I'm now 1, I'm now 2, I'm now 3. Children have the most fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really significant, because it is about what we've done with those years, rather than the years themselves, because it is about lessons learned. And that's why Carol asked the question about your journey and the challenges that you face, so we can actually maybe learn from some of those things as well. How would you define success?
Success, right? Oh, I was having this conversation with my sister this morning. That's so
Were
interesting. Okay, so success is interesting, because the world has given me, let's say, a definition of success as material possessions and money. And it's a good marker in some sense. You can really see, how far have I got? Well, I've got X amount of pounds in the bank account. But beyond that, there's more of a personal perspective to wealth. For me, it becomes one about friendships, and then about family. So family and friendships means a lot to me, and it's about the strength of those connections. I see those as being very, very valuable things. Money is important, and the money kind of comes through hopefully doing something that you like. If you've really got it right, you will be in a field doing something that you like. Someone hopefully will be paying you a reasonable amount of money for it. Or sometimes you're doing really things that are not significant and being paid an extraordinary amount of money for doing it. So you have to work out, really, I think, your anchor. You have to be your own anchor in your life and work out what shifts you. So if it is looking for money, then it means you'll do anything. Yeah. You know, if someone offered you £1 million to be a stripper, Marcia, would you do it? I'm like, I don't think I would. Thank you. I don't need that money. I don't need to come across £1 million.
If anybody from there looking at me.
You're so funny. But I don't think that there are things that you won't compromise on. Let's put it that way. Yeah. And you have to work out what your values are. And for me, I've realized that my wealth is actually my health. So staying healthy, trying to eat properly. I'm terrible at exercise. I don't go to gyms. I'm very, very lazy. I'm surprised I'm still standing. But obviously I've got good genetics, and I must do a little bit of exercise somewhere, but I'm lazy. But I do try to eat well. So I'm very, very much about my wealth is my health and my mental health. If I don't have that physical health or mental health, I'm stuffed anyway. Yeah. So I keep my eye on the ball with that. Beyond that, it's about purpose. Why am I here? Why do I do what I do? How do I jump out of bed in the morning? What makes me jump out of bed in the morning? Why don't I want to get out of bed some mornings? You know, what's happening, Joy? You're working out what's going on. So to me, it's mental health and physical health. And then a bigger thing, as you probably find when you get older, is spiritual health.
Yes.
So people don't talk about that, even though we say mind, body, spirit, just glibly, like people don't talk about the spiritual bit. But yeah, they're all significant. They all work together. And the last one in particular for me, the spiritual health, has helped me to stay on purpose, to remember why I'm here, remember the significance of what I'm doing. And without that, I'm sunk, because I know that I have to dip into certain books and certain audio bits as well to feed my soul. I call it, Marcy. And Carol, to feed my soul. I need that. So I know there's 3 elements working all together, hopefully synchronizing, sometimes not synchronizing, but they need to work together as best as they can.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
talked about values and beliefs just now in the explanation you've just been giving, really. What would you say are your motivating beliefs? What are the things that are driving you forward? Because you do so much. You've got, I want to touch on your course that you're doing a bit later on, but start by telling us about these motivating beliefs that you have.
Well, motivation in itself is just, as I said, that basic thing about being able to jump out of bed in the morning and say, hey, world, it's another day, And I've had days when I've not been able to jump out of bed and say that. And it was worse when I was in my 20s, as I said, in my 30s. More recently, despite doing what I do for a job, as a profession, I still have days when I wake up and I think, and I question it because I think a lot. I think, Joy, you haven't jumped out of bed today. What's the problem? And sometimes there is nothing wrong. So I'm okay with telling myself, Joy, there is nothing wrong. It's okay. Lie in bed for another 10 minutes, 15, whatever you want. Lie in bed all day if you want, Joy. It doesn't matter. When you're ready to get up, you'll get up. So I'm just practicing this self-care, self-compassion, non-judgmental attitude towards myself. I really make an effort to do that. But motivation is important. Motivation is the thing that makes you want to do something. But finding something in life that you care about, that you're interested in, that is the beginning of motivation. It can start with a very, very small seed. I might decide I like gardening. So what do I do next? Go out and buy some gear, go out and buy some seeds. I don't know. What do I do next? Oh, read about the plants in a book. Quite like the Latin names. Oh, that's interesting. So you can let's say, fire up your interest with time. Because people talk about motivation and it's like it just comes out of the blue, like boom, and it's just there in the room. It's like, no, it probably starts off as something quite small, like a plant growing, a little seedling, water it, give it some sunshine. It might not be your thing. Ice skating might not be my thing, Marcia. I keep falling over and I'm worried about my ankles. So it's not my thing, but something else might be my thing. And it's about what fires you up, what makes you interested. And just like children, adults, we're allowed to flit about from one thing to another. We don't have to be interested in one thing. That excludes me being interested in something else. No, you can be interested in as many things as you want.
So what are the things, though, that fire you up?
I think at the moment, just working on looking at areas of stress and mental health, that really does fire me up. And I think about beyond that, when I'm not doing that, I tend to be just resting, which tends to be watching television. And if I'm not watching television, I can be bothered to pick up a pen and do some drawing. I might draw because I quite like drawing when I get into it. If I'm not doing that, then I might pick up a crochet needle and some wool and I might knit some squares. But I know that I tell my clients, get an interest, find something away from your work. But I'm guilty. I admit it. I'm guilty of just loving what I do. Yeah. And it can mean that I go over and beyond. So 11 o'clock, I could be on the computer. I know it's not good. But hey, I'm okay. I'm still standing.
Yeah, it works.
I know what I should do.
Yeah, it works for you.
It works for me.
By your definition then of success, would you consider yourself to be successful?
I'd say definitely successful. I am healthy. I have, good physical health, good mental health, good spiritual health. I would definitely say that. If I'm looking at the material wealth, that's always something which I suppose in my head, okay, I could do better. But then I'm always about turning things around. I look at happiness and I look at how we get it, how we lose it. And the problem that we all have, I think, is focusing on the things that we haven't got. So if you think about that, you spend all your time focusing, I haven't got a yacht, I haven't got a private jet, I haven't got 3 houses, oh, I haven't got an apartment in Spain. But by the time I finish that, I'm feeling so depressed, it's untrue. How about looking at what you do have? So actually, I have my home, I have my partner, I have my family, I have food in the cupboard, I have running water, I have my health, I have my friends. I'm like, wow, you are pretty wealthy. So it's your own definition of wealth. You do have to try and find that as quickly as you can, because without that, you will probably end up always being disappointed.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Joy, what advice would you give to others that are thinking of starting their own business today?
I think anyone starting their business it's a question of making sure that you can still pay for all the basics in life. So even though I just mentioned the money does make the world go round, in that that's the thing that we hand over as a common thing. You know, you give me your sheep, I'll give you £10, I don't know. So we have to have money. But really, if you're going to start a business, you do need to have some money behind you in the bank. All right. You can call it your security blanket, call it your, I think I remember a phrase that I had way back. It wasn't a security blanket, but it was this idea of a trapeze walker on a tightrope and the net. So it's a safety net. What's your safety net of money that makes you switch off from worrying, switch off from being, you know, stuck in that animal, that rabbit in the headlights thing. So I know what my basic minimum amount of money is that helps to keep me feeling okay. When I go below that, I just go into worry mode. So I can't even focus on business when I'm in that place. So I would say make sure that you have some money behind you. Also make sure that you realize it's not an overnight thing. Yeah. So if you're wanting to go from A to B in 5 weeks, think again. Yeah. 5 months, definitely think again. So then you get like 5 years. So people don't want to hear, did you say 5 years, Joy? Possibly, it depends. But it's not so much about what you're doing, because what you're doing, they talk about it being, it's not the destination, it's the journey. So you hear all these very prophetic things and you have to find a place for them. But while you're doing something, you might just as well get some enjoyment out of it. But I think that knowing that there are physical things that you might still have to pay for, your mortgage, your rent, the food, you have to have that from somewhere. And if it's not coming from you by having a second job, let's say, in place, or money in the bank that you put aside, or a partner who's going to like support you when you've got, let's say, less money than they have to bring into the household, you just have to, I just know that I need to have my security blanket and my safety net of money, and then my brain can function. I'm very sensitive in that if I'm a worrywart, my mum has taught me to worry. I'm very good at worrying and catastrophizing, all the things I tell my clients not to do. But it gets triggered when I feel my reserves, my physical monetary reserves have gone down. I actually don't think very well. So I have to get that out of the way. So it's not an overnight thing. You're not just doing it for the money, you're also doing it for the pleasure. There is something about the purpose of what you're doing as well. So that matters.
Fabulous. Tell us about the stress course that you're running at the moment.
Yes, well, like I said, I'm a therapist, but I also run my own other businesses, I suppose. And this is my way, I suppose, of sharing the cognitive behavioural ideas that I use with clients. So it's all about what you think, what you feel, what you do, and it's how can I present that to a wider audience? Because I see people one-to-one, and there's no way I'm going to see the world by seeing people one-to-one. It's just physically not possible. So designing a course which has contained some of the ideas that I share with clients, it's been an idea that's bubbling for a while, and I've brought it all together, and I've launched that. So I did a launch last week, and I'm basically going to be launching it again. So I had a few people that were interested. Didn't have anyone buy, Marcy, and I'm thinking, oh my God, should I give up? No, Joy, you don't give up. This is the beginning of something, you know, and the Americans have a great word. They call it reiterate your way to success. I love Americans. I love them for their words, but they're saying, try again.
Yeah.
You know, try again, modify it, try again, modify it, try again. And then you might, you know, become an overnight success, Joy.
Yeah.
after.
There's no such thing as there's that overnight success.
Hilarious, isn't it? I'll be an overnight success after 3 years. Oh, wow. Yes, taking a look. And I think people just have to learn to be patient, I think. We've lost this kind of sense of patience in the world, and we live in a fast economy, fast food, fast everything, fast success. No, there isn't such thing as fast success, but you can be successful quickly.
Yeah.
You'll still have the issue to deal with. You might not have been ready for that success.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does the future hold for Joy Langley?
Wow. I think I'm going to be an absolute megastar, Marcia. I was just thinking about that. Carol's like going, seriously, what's this woman on? You know, whatever she's on, I want some of it.
I know, I love you, Karen Joy. It's like...
but seriously, I think that, you know, what you see is just the surface of who I am. So,
Yes.
okay, I have a professional title. I'm a therapist. I get that. I'm now branching out into the online world. Okay, I become an online course creator. But I know that I write a lot. So there's a book that's in the offing for me somewhere. And that's the next big thing for me. And I just want to be out there talking, sharing, giving what I know of the world. And for me, the biggest thing is that when I leave this world, I do want to leave a legacy. They talk about this legacy that you leave behind. I do want people to remember me, perhaps remember things that I did. It would be lovely if I could create something which really sustained a generation, even if it's my thoughts or my way of looking at this whole mind stuff, mental health, mind, you know, that's important to me, because I think without the mental health and mental wealth, we are nothing anyway. So I really like to talk about ideas like that, and I'm a creative, visualized person. I just talk in metaphors and God knows what, because like I said, I want the pictures to come back into the books. The pictures are in our minds, but if I can create pictures to kickstart your visualization, then that's what I need to do, because human beings think in pictures. It's our imagination which is our biggest strength and our biggest curse.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Joy, how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in finding out about what you do? I know you've given us your webpage, which is great, but is there any other avenues of contact?
Yeah, the main place is the website's there. Like Marcia said, I have two purposes. I'm the therapist and also I'm doing this online stuff. So in my therapy world, my company is called Catch a Thought. So the email address is joy@catchathought.co.uk. So I'm sure Marcia will give you more details, but I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook as well under various things. So either put in Joy Langley or Karen Joy Langley, as Marcia said, I've got two names on the go, and you'll find something. But LinkedIn is a great place if people use that, and you guys are a good source. Or just type in, I don't know, you know, crazy lady from High Wycombe. You might find me under that.
That'll be under me. It'll be me, Carol, then Karen.
Oh, you two are first in the queue. Okay. Well, I'm third in the queue then.
Joy, it's always a pleasure having discussions with you. You make me smile. No,
I can't behave myself. I'm sorry.
No, it's brilliant. And I don't want you to, this is you. This is who you are. And this is why people enjoy coming to you and why you've got the clients that you have got and you're building that network. It's brilliant. We always like to finish with just getting, letting you understand really what we are taking away from being with you today. And I've been scribbling down some notes as you've been talking really. And for me, the first thing that I want to say is this thing about remembering to become and remain your own cheerleader.
Perfect.
And I nearly gave you a woo woo.
Woo, woo, woo.
Absolutely, because you know, in this changing world, changing times, changing, you know, business that we're in, remaining your own cheerleader when you're getting things that aren't always so positive coming at you is hard. And I'm really lucky because I've got Carol, as well as obviously Pete, but I've got Carol working with me, and so we try and champion each other. And we're also grateful for the clients that we have around us as well that champion our cause. But that's important, to become and to remain your own cheerleader. Really
Essential.
important. Yeah. Define wealth and make sure you're defining it for yourself, that you're not taking on somebody else's definition. That's really nice. That's really nice. And that for me is a good, it's just a reminder. I do that anyway, but that's just a reminder for me.
I understand it's not always about the money.
Absolutely. And that's why I like that, really, that define that wealth. Remain in gratitude. Remain in gratitude. And I, you know, Carol and I, we do our gratitudes every single morning because there is so much to be grateful for. And before doing my gratitude, I was in that cycle of, why is everybody else moving forward and I'm not moving forward, and da 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 da.
Oh, Marcia, shame on you, Marcia.
I know, you have to flick it over sometimes, don't you? And say, actually, look at all you're doing. Look at all the clients you have got and what you're doing, and be grateful, because that can so easily disappear. The final thing for me is about be patient. So when you were talking about advising other people about starting up in business, I think within me, there's that hurry up driver. So being
Are we there
patient.
yet? Are we there yet, Mum?
Yeah.
Are we there yet?
What's our ETA? Carol know this. What's our ETA? Be patient. I don't know if you anything to add in, CC, from at all, or
I just pretty much because we work together and because we are of a mind, it's pretty much, I agree with a lot of that, but a lot of it is be your own champion, because, you know, even although you're supporting other people, you have to have that belief in yourself. And I think that's why Marcia and I have worked together the way we have for so long, because we believe in each other, but we do believe in ourselves as well. Yeah. So that's prime. And that's something that we can take away from this today, which is, you know, it's wonderful because we need reminding a bit more.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Thank you. It sounds like I've done a good job then, guys.
You have. You've done a really good job. Do not underestimate yourself at all. Joy, absolute pleasure. And we look forward to catching up with you again, maybe when you've got your courses running, and we can tap into you maybe for a part 2 interview.
Absolutely. So Carol and Marcia, thank you so much for today. I'm glad that you've enjoyed some of the topics that you've brought up and I'm able to answer. So I have a blast wherever I go. Wherever I go, oh my God, I'm there.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you.